Alistair himself would have noticed, he's been drawing many admiring glances from older women, you know, the new generation. We all know Joan Bakewell was called the thinking man's crumpet. Well, Alistair Darling has definitely become the thinking woman's oatcake. And Jack Straw masterminded the attack on the government's outrageous gerrymandering of the parliamentary constituency boundaries. Now, there's been lots of jokes this week about Jack's long service in public life, and people have commented that Jack was there when Moses came down from the mountain, and there have even been references to stair lifts. But conference, that's just not fair, because Jack Straw is a man in his prime, and I'll tell you something, he outdoes everyone in his spinning class in the House of Commons gym. So today I'm inviting Jack Straw to be the poster boy for my special new campaign, You're Not Past It When You're Past 60. I'd also...
We're going to leave the Labour Deputy Leader there. The agenda's running about 15, 20 minutes late. We were told that Harriet Harman was going to speak for about 8 minutes and hope to bring it all to you live. In fact, we're now told she could be speaking for 20 to 25 minutes and we're off air at 1 o'clock. We may dip back in if we've got time to hear what she's got to say, but if you need to follow every word, of course it is going out live on the BBC Parliament channel where we have the gavel-to-gavel coverage. For the moment, back in the daily politics bubble, or should I say lion's den, Hazel Blears, we welcome you back. Now Hazel, when you were in this little studio of ours, I asked you if at a fringe meeting you had described some of the things that Labour had done in government as wicked and malicious. And you told me that you were talking about the coalition. But since then we've got an audio tape of what you were saying, and I don't think you were, but let's roll the tape and hear again.
Nobody knows what Ed Miliband stands for. Actually, if you are a bit of a blank sheet of paper to the public, you have got a chance of doing something new. And for goodness sake, you know, I feel this personally so much. Don't we need something new after 13 years? That sense of trying to put behind us the kind of, you know, wicked, malicious stuff that's gone on in our party.
Now, just in case we're sitting on a national scoop here, for this to apply to the coalition, our party would mean that you had joined the Conservatives or Lib Dems, so I assume that's not the case.
Certainly not.
Certainly so you were talking about Labour?
No, you put to me, has the Labour government done some wicked and malicious things? Yeah. I think if you listen to that clip, and I've listened to it, what I was talking about is some of the things that have gone on inside the party,
yes.
And everybody knows
when
about
in power.
That. But that's not things that the Labour government did. Andrew, you know, I am the fiercest defender of the Labour government's record that you ever have on your show.
So why didn't you give me that answer? Because when I asked you, you said I was talking about the coalition of Labour and Conservative being wicked and malicious. You were talking about the Labour Party being wicked and malicious while it was in power.
Right. I didn't give you that answer because you hadn't told me you were going to ask me, and I genuinely...
I'll never tell you what I'm going to ask you.
But I genuinely could not recall what I'd said off the cuff at a fringe meeting, one of a dozen that I've done this week, in terms of that comment. When I listened to that tape, and I have done very carefully, it makes very clear that I'm not talking about what the Labour government did, because we did some excellent things, made some mistakes.
And you weren't talking about the coalition, so what you told us was wrong, agreed?
I think when you said wicked and malicious, I just immediately thought of Tory cuts, because I couldn't recall myself saying...
But you weren't talking about the coalition.
No,
we're agreed on that.
We are agreed on that, yes.
All right. And you're telling me that you had a short-term memory lapse, even though you described your own party, when in power, as wicked and malicious.
No, what I said was that some pretty bad things had gone on, and I think if you listen to anybody in conference, everybody, including Ed Miliband, is saying, isn't it great that we can move on, we can have a fresh page for Labour, and that's exactly what I said at that fringe meeting in my contribution. And absolutely, I think all of us were sick and tired of some of the things that went on, and we're delighted, I am personally delighted, that we've got a new leader with that sense of renewal and freshness, the new generation stuff, you know, that's what I want to support going forward. So, you know, when I listened to that tape, it wasn't about the Labour government doing wicked things.
No, it was about the Labour Party in power, which is not 1,000 miles from what we call the Labour government. What did the Labour Party in power do that was wicked and malicious?
What the Labour government did was try and change this country for the better.
No, but that's not what I asked you. What was wicked
How
and
can you
malicious
defend this?
about the
This is
behaviour of the Labour Party when it was in power?
Well, you will know, as anybody else will know in politics, that there were occasions when bad things were said about various people. I'm not going to go into personalities because that's what the press always wants to do. It's not what I want to do. I want a new leader with a fresh start and a new page for Labour, exactly what we should be doing. And I think after this conference, people will find that there is a new spirit in the Labour Party, including me, that wants to get behind Ed Miliband, unite our party and go forward.
Sure.
That's what I care about. It's what I've always cared about.
I get all that, but can you not just give me an example of where the last Labour Party behaved wickedly and maliciously?
No, I can't, Andrew.
So why did you raise it?
Because that's what you want. You want that detail.
These are your words, Hazel Blears, not mine.
Well, what I said was...
I've never said them, you said them.
Well, I said some pretty bad things have gone on, and I don't think you'll find anybody in the hall that wouldn't say that that was the case. But I'm certainly not going to give you tidbits of scandal and gossip to extend this story. I've told you, Andrew, what I'm concerned about is the Labour Party making a fresh start, and I will be 100% behind that.
All right. Don't go away.
I won't go away.
We're going to leave that, but we'll come back to other things. Because as the Labour conference draws to a close, we thought we'd take time to reflect on what's been a pretty